Hey everyone, Tyler here. Welcome to Alaska, the last frontier. Over the next 6 days, I'm covering a lot of ground in a short amount of time, chasing long summer days and squeezing every adventure I can into this trip. I start and end right here at Fairbanks International Airport, and to save both time and money, I'm spending a few nights sleeping in my rental car. It's not glamorous, but out here, it works. After landing in Fairbanks, the first order of business is simple. Fill up the water bottles, grab my rental car from Enterprise, and hit the road. No downtime, just straight into the adventure. This time of year, the sun barely dips below the horizon for a couple of hours, so there's endless daylight to explore. Denali National Park is just over 2 hours from the airport. It's a beautiful drive south along the Parks Highway, Highway 3, lined with forest, sweeping landscapes, and that classic Alaska feeling of endless space. Before reaching the park entrance, I pull off alongside the Nenana River and find a quiet spot to sleep for the night. It's simple, peaceful, and honestly, a perfect way to start this trip. I wake up feeling energized and ready to explore what will become my 14th U.S. National Park. I arrive a bit early, before the visitor center opens at 8 a.m., so I make myself a quick oatmeal breakfast using my trusty card kettle, and then head inside once they open the doors. Right away, I hear about a ranger-led hike happening the next day, so I sign up on the spot. After checking out the exhibits, it's time to see more of the park. In Denali, you can only drive the first 15 miles on your own. After that, the shuttle buses are mandatory. There are narrated tour buses too, but after researching, I learned the green bus gives you a lot of narration as well, and most importantly, they stop for wildlife. That's good enough for me. I take the bus all the way to the end of the accessible road. Normally it runs much farther, to another visitor center, but a major road collapse limits travel to about mile 43. Still, the landscapes are huge, rugged, and completely worth the ride. Back near the visitor center, I had just enough time to visit one of the most unique parts of Denali, its sled dogs. These dogs aren't just here for show. They play a vital role in winter, helping rangers patrol, transport supplies, and manage the park in ways that motorized vehicles simply can't. After a long day exploring, it's time for something a little different, a brewery stop. I drive back to the small town of Healy to check out 49th State Brewing. Not only is the beer great, but out in the yard they have a replica of the famous Into the Wild bus, the one Christopher McCandless lived in. If you don't know the story, definitely watch the movie. It's a perfect way to end a full first day in Alaska. Alright, so you wouldn't guess, but it's almost 10 p.m. here in Alaska, and I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm going to try to go to bed here soon. And I have these window screens from Luno, and I forgot to put them on last night, and I woke up this morning and there was moisture all over the windows, so I'm going to try these window screens out tonight, and it'll be nice just to have a cool breeze and some fresh air while I'm sleeping. The next morning, I'm back in Denali for my ranger-led hike. The hike itself is free, but you do need a shuttle ticket to reach the starting point, which cost me $33. Once we reach the trailhead, we hop off the shuttle, introduce ourselves, and share our favorite national parks. Mine? Yosemite. Still hard to beat in my book. And then we get moving. The interesting thing about hiking in Denali is that there really aren't any trails, and that's by design. The park wants to keep the landscape wild and untouched, so our ranger has us spread out in different directions to avoid creating paths. It feels a little strange at first, but also incredibly freeing, like you're just walking across raw, open wilderness. It's a wet day. Between steady rain and a few stream crossings, everyone ends up completely soaked, but honestly, it adds to the experience. The plants out here look even more vibrant under the rain, and the whole place feels alive. Along the way, we spot signs of wildlife, a set of shed moose antlers, and even the jawbone of a red fox, little reminders that the animals are always close, even if you don't see them. We eventually make it up to the top of a hill where the clouds break just long enough to give us some beautiful views. Even soaked to the bone, it's impossible not to appreciate how wild and unfiltered Denali really is. outside, got my shoes and socks drying out on my way to Anchorage. Really enjoyed Denali. Would have been nice to have a little bit better weather today, but you take what you can get. In Anchorage, I'm going to meet up with Yvonne and Becky. They were on my Nepal trip where we went to Everest Base Camp. I also brought them some treats. Apparently they don't have a Trader Joe's in Alaska, so they wanted the dark chocolate peanut butter cups. And Yvonne also asked for corn tortillas. So Yvonne, got your corn tortillas, and I'm headed your way.
The 4-hour drive to Anchorage is relaxed and scenic, crossing wide river valleys and winding through small Alaskan towns. I hit a stretch of heavy rain, because when it rains up here, it really comes down. Before long, I'm entering the Anchorage metropolitan area, home to more than half of Alaska's roughly 740,000 residents. The city of Anchorage alone has nearly 300,000 people, making it the state's largest and busiest hub.
Got a shower at Yvonne and Becky's. I'm feeling fresh, like a new man, and I'm leaving Anchorage, now headed to Seward, and it's 10:20 in the evening, but as you can see, the sun is still up, still very bright outside. I don't know if I'll drive the whole way to Seward, but I'll get at least halfway, and then tomorrow morning, big day, taking a boat tour to Kenai Fjords.
From Anchorage, it's another 2.5 hours to Seward. This drive is one of the most beautiful in Alaska. As soon as you leave the city and head along the Turnagain Arm, the mountains tighten in, the land turns lush, and the scenery becomes unreal. The Kenai Peninsula is famous for this: steep mountains, alpine lakes, hanging glaciers, and long stretches of untouched forest. I push it until about midnight before finally pulling off beside an incredible lake, only about half an hour from Seward. With the glow of Alaska's late summer dusk still hanging in the air, it's the perfect spot to call it a night. In the morning, I finish the short drive into Seward and make it to the marina early. My tour of Resurrection Bay and Kenai Fjords is booked for 8:30 a.m. There are plenty of companies that operate boat tours here, and the big-name companies run large, comfortable vessels packed with guests. But I'm going for something different. I choose Seward Ocean Excursions, a small boat experience with a maximum of 6 passengers. The smaller size means you can get closer to wildlife, into tighter coves, and the whole thing just feels more adventurous. Our captain, Andrew, clearly loves his job. He's incredibly knowledgeable and constantly on the radio coordinating with other captains to find the best wildlife sightings and photo opportunities. Out in Resurrection Bay, we cruise past the Sekuliak, a major research vessel operated by the University of Alaska Fairbanks. The Sekuliak is built to break ice and operate in some of the harshest seas on the planet. Not long after, we spot sea otters, lots of them, floating on their backs and grooming in the kelp beds. Then we get lucky and encounter a pod of killer whales, specifically a group known locally as the Kodiak Killers. They're hunting for seals and porpoises near Thumb Cove, and watching them work the shoreline is unforgettable. We continue on and spot humpback whales surfacing in the distance and little puffins flapping low across the waves. To wrap up the tour, Andrew eases the boat right alongside the rocky shoreline so we can explore the intertidal zone. Here we spot bright sea stars, clusters of mussels, and even a few bald eagles perched along the coast, watching over the bay. It's an incredible mix of wildlife, history, scenery, and adventure, all packed into a single morning on the water. By the time the tour wraps up, I've definitely worked up an appetite. I wander around downtown Seward and land on Mexican food at Lone Chicharron. I order the fish burrito, and it absolutely hits the spot. After lunch, I spend an hour or so exploring the National Iditarod Historic Trail. Originally, this was a network of routes used by Alaska Native peoples long before it became a major supply and transportation corridor during the gold rush. Today, parts of the trail run right along Resurrection Bay, offering stunning coastal views. The path is alive with birds, marine life, and that unmistakable Alaskan energy. It's a perfect way to slow things down after a big adventure on the water. My day's not over yet. I'm speed traveling, remember? And with plenty of daylight left in Alaska's long summer evenings, there's still time to explore more of Kenai Fjords National Park, this time on foot. As always, I start at the visitor center. It's my go-to move in every national park because you get the latest conditions, trail updates, and insider tips straight from the rangers. Good thing I did, because right outside the door is their wildlife sighting board, and on this particular day, several bears had already been spotted along the trails. That definitely got my attention.
You'll gain 1,200 feet of elevation.
I chat with a ranger and put together a game plan. The famous Harding Icefield Trail catches my eye. It's an 8.6-mile round-trip hike with over 3,000 feet of elevation gain and usually takes 6 to 7 hours to complete. It's a serious adventure and the views are supposed to be unreal, but it's still June and that means lingering snow up high. Without proper snow gear, attempting the whole thing isn't the smartest move. So instead, I go for the shorter option, the 2.5-mile round trip to Marmot Meadows. Because I'm feeling good, the weather is perfect, and the trail is calling my name, I decide to trail run my way up. Even from the meadow, the view of the Harding Icefield Glacier is absolutely stunning. Bright blue ice, sweeping valleys, and that endless sense of scale that Alaska does better than anywhere. Thankfully, I don't encounter any bears along the way, but I'm prepared just in case. Big shout out to Yvonne for letting me borrow a can of bear spray. It definitely gives you a little peace of mind out here. With daylight still on my side, I make one more quick stop, the Glacier Overlook Trail. It's an easy half-mile walk to a viewpoint of the glacier. Along the path, signs show where the glacier once reached, and the amount of recession over the decades is staggering. It's equal parts beautiful and sobering. All in all, hiking, or in some cases running around Kenai Fjords, is the perfect way to end an already incredible day. The next morning, I make the journey back up the Kenai Peninsula, headed toward Anchorage. But of course, I'm not in a rush. I make a stop at Virgin Creek Falls. This short hike is just under 2 miles round trip and follows a peaceful forest trail alongside a creek. It's an easy walk, but the payoff is big. The trail opens up to a beautiful waterfall pouring over mossy rock, surrounded by lush greenery. It's a perfect quick stop to stretch the legs and soak in a little more of Alaska's natural beauty before getting back on the road. From there, I continue on to Anchorage to meet up with Yvonne. And obviously, I'm not going to show up empty-handed. I grab a box of Alaskan beer and some wild blueberry cream soda. Yvonne takes me out for a walk along the Tony Knowles Coastal Trail, one of Anchorage's most popular paths. Tony Knowles was once the mayor of Anchorage and later the governor of Alaska. Next, we head downtown to check out one of Yvonne's fishing spots at Ship Creek. This is where locals line the banks trying to catch salmon right in the middle of the city. After that, we stop into the flagship location of 49th State Brewing, a major hub for tourists and locals alike, with great beer and a lively atmosphere. That evening, I get a taste of Anchorage's local scene, starting at the Eye-Tooth Tavern, known for its craft beer selection and legendary pizzas. From there, we do a little bar hopping, checking out Anchorage Brewing Company, which is known for its bold and experimental beers, and then wrapping things up at another local favorite, the Buckaroo Club, a no-frills, old-school Anchorage institution. The next morning, Yvonne has something special lined up for us, a downhill mountain biking adventure. We get dropped off at Glen Alps Park and ride down the Hemlock Burn Trail, descending through forest with sweeping views over Anchorage and Cook Inlet. This ends up being one of the most fun things I do on the entire Alaska trip. Huge thanks to Yvonne for organizing it, and an even bigger thanks to his brother-in-law for loaning me the bike. Seriously, what a way to wrap up my time in Anchorage. After saying my goodbyes, I'm back on the road, heading northbound on Highway 3. Next stop, Talkeetna. When I arrive, the town is buzzing with activity. Talkeetna is small, quirky, and full of character. Think colorful historic buildings, local artists selling handmade crafts, coffee shops, bakeries, and a steady mix of climbers, pilots, and travelers passing through. It feels like one of those places where everyone has a story. On a clear day, you can sometimes see Denali towering in the distance from the banks of the Talkeetna River. Today, though, the clouds have other plans. So, if I'm going to see Denali, I'm going to have to do it by other means. And by other means, I mean a small, plain flight scene tour with Talkeetna Air Taxi. Talkeetna Air Taxi has been flying in this region for decades and is one of the most respected operators in Alaska. They specialize in flight scene tours around Denali and glacier landings deep in the Alaska Range. This isn't just a scenic flight. The it's a front row seat to some of the most dramatic mountains and glaciers on the planet. Our pilot Liam is fantastic, calm, confident, and incredibly knowledgeable. He points out peaks, glaciers, and routes used by climbers attempting Denali. As we lift off, the landscape quickly transforms. Dense forest gives way to massive glaciated valleys, jagged ridgelines, and endless snowfields. The scale out here is hard to comprehend until you see it from the air. We get incredible views of Denali and the surrounding peaks, weaving between towering mountains and flying over glaciers like the Ruth Glacier, which stretches out below us like a frozen river of ice. Every direction you look is unreal. Deep crevasses, ice falls, and sharp granite walls rising thousands of feet straight up. This was hands down the most expensive activity I did in Alaska, and I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if the cost would be worth it. But the moment we were in the air, that doubt disappeared. This flight didn't just add to the trip, it put a final exclamation point on an already incredible adventure. I even splurged for the flight that includes a glacier landing on the Ruth Glacier, and that decision was absolutely worth it. Stepping out of the plane and onto the ice, surrounded by towering peaks, was unforgettable. The air was crisp, the views were jaw-dropping, and it felt like standing in the heart of Alaska's wildest landscape. If there's one experience that truly captures the scale, beauty, and raw power of Alaska, this is it. And just like that, my Alaska adventure is nearly over. It's time to begin the drive back north to Fairbanks for my flight the following day. I fuel up one last time, this time with some Thai food, and hit the road once again. Alaska reminds me of who's in charge as the rain returns, coming down hard in stretches. Along the way, I pass one of the state's stranger roadside attractions, the abandoned Igloo Hotel, a half-finished curiosity that's been sitting here for decades. Not long after, I spot a moose and her calf grazing near the road, one final wildlife sighting to send me off. At some point, I pull over and bed down for the evening, catching a few hours of sleep before finishing the drive to Fairbanks in the morning. My flight isn't until later in the day, so I still have time to explore. First stop, the University of Alaska Museum of the North. This place does a great job telling the story of Alaska, from its geology and wildlife to indigenous cultures and modern history. You'll find massive animal displays, ancient artifacts, and exhibits explaining how Alaska was shaped by ice, tectonics, and time. If you're traveling with kids, the hands-on exhibits are especially engaging. That said, I had just as much fun as an adult, especially using the museum's high-powered microscopes. They let you take a close look at fossils, plants, and insects at an incredible level of magnification, revealing an entirely different world of detail you'd never notice with the naked eye. Suddenly, a beetle turns into an alien landscape, a reminder of how much there is to discover, even in the smallest details. From there, I head downtown for lunch at the Creperie, which turns out to be the perfect final meal in Fairbanks. Simple, delicious, and relaxed. They serve both sweet and savory crepes made fresh to order, and with all the options on the menu, it's not an easy decision. Of course, I end up going savory, packed with warm, flavorful ingredients that hit the spot after a full morning of exploring. I walk off lunch and then head over to the Morris Thompson Cultural and Visitor Center. This place is packed with helpful resources for travelers and thoughtful exhibits focused on Alaska Native cultures and the history of interior Alaska. Inside, you'll find beautifully curated displays that highlight traditional lifestyles, seasonal subsistence practices, and the deep connection between the land, wildlife, and the people who have lived here for thousands of years. There's also a full-service information center that gives you access to a surprising amount of public resources. I was especially intrigued by their files on hiking trails and public-use cabins scattered throughout the state. Knowing that these remote cabins are available to anyone willing to plan ahead definitely has me thinking about future trips. And the best part, this visitor center is completely free. Absolutely worth a stop if you find yourself in Fairbanks. For my final stop, I make a quick drive to the nearby town of North Pole, Alaska. If I'm being honest, I mostly came here for the photo. But if you really love Santa Claus or Christmas souvenirs, you might enjoy wandering around a bit longer. And with that, my 6-day Alaska adventure comes to an end. I still can't believe how much I was able to see and do in such a short amount of time. From national parks and glaciers to wildlife, small towns, and incredible people along the way. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions about the trip, the routes, or any of the experiences I shared, leave a comment below and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.